Hey everybody, welcome back to On Deck with the Charlotte Knights. Matt Swierad with you, and tonight's special guest joining us is Knights first-year manager, Wes Helms, who's back at his home in Birmingham. And Wes, hope you're doing all right today.
Oh, we're good, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We appreciate all the stuff you've been doing, too, locally. Been a lot of TV stations around the city, and we certainly appreciate that. And I know you really want to get back on the field as the guys do. I talked to Nick Madrigal earlier today, talked to Danny Mendick later tonight. And the guys are kind of chopping at the bit, get back out there. Opening day, this will be the home opener tonight. For you, you've had a lot of opening days, and it seems, this is sort of my 30th home opener. Opening day it's a special day, isn't it?
100%. The only thing that compares to an opening day, of course, if you go to the playoffs, but it's still just special just because the anticipation leading up to it, all the hard work for the off season and spring training, and you just never think it's going to end. And all of a sudden you get to that opening day and the stands are full. Usually the national anthem is bigger. Sometimes you have the flyover, especially in the big leagues. I mean, it's a special day. And if you're a baseball fan and you love baseball, it doesn't matter how long you play it or how many games you've been to. If you go to opening day over and over, it gives you the same amount of chills every time. It never gets old.
Do you have any opening days that kind of stand out in your memory, one or two that were special for you?
I'll be honest with you, man. The opening day in Philly in 2007, I had them in Atlanta, had them in Florida, had them in Milwaukee, but for some reason that one, the 2-year opening days I was in Philly in 07 and 08, they just go all out. It is, those fans are passionate, and just the way they roll out the big American flag and have the flyover and the red and white everywhere. It's special. When you take the line and, especially that year in 07, I was in the starting lineup on opening day. It really does give you chills. It makes you realize what, just the importance and the, how much enthusiasm that baseball brings to America and the world.
Little extra butterflies, maybe opening day?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. It never gets old. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. You still get butterflies on opening day, and then it kind of settles in. So it's kind of like a kid waking up on Christmas morning. I always tell people that, Christmas is here. Opening day is the same way. It's that much excitement, that much enthusiasm, and as you go through the day, it kind of just settles in. But that first waking up that morning of that opening day is pretty special.
Hey, Wes, is there a difference between, if you get called up as a player in the middle of a season that, you get to make your major league debut, that's always going to be, tops for guys. But is it different when you go to spring training and for the first time make the opening day roster?
Oh, definitely. Nothing replaces making it to the big leagues. I tell every player that. Making it to the big leagues is special. But when you come out of spring training and you break camp with that team and you're part of that 25-man roster to start that season, because during the season, it could be, you're making the team for an injury or anything, or just getting caught up because, somebody had to go on the bereavement list or whatever it could be. So to make it out of spring training kind of lets you know, like, I did my work and it's paying off. It's kind of it sets in a little different.
When you look at this team, the team you'd be managing this year, a lot of young talent in the White Sox organization. You mentioned a couple of guys just a few moments ago. What was it like in spring training? You guys really didn't get to that point yet when it was shut down that you probably weren't making rosters yet, but it looked like from, the names that we saw anyway, the team is going to have some pretty good players on it.
Oh, yeah. We were still in big league camp, the AAA staff. Really, they really hadn't made a move yet any of our AAA guys. They were still in big league camp that they're going to make up the majority of the Charlotte team. So we still had our eyes on them in big league camp. We really didn't get that personal relationship with them as, their manager and as coaches and players together. Because, when they're in big league camp, they're the big league staffs, and we just kind of there to help. So, we really didn't get to that point, but we started seeing the pieces that, okay, we're probably going to have this and that. We knew some guys were going, but some guys that were on the bubble, we were kind of starting to get that idea with those guys. And, we would be in the coach's office kind of talking about, man, we're going to have a good team. I will say this, the pitching was going to be outstanding. If everything played out, the starters and the bullpen in Charlotte was going to be electric. And it was going to be something that the fans would be, really enjoy watching every night, on that hill. And, the position player wise, we were going to be really strong, but I'm telling you, the pitching is pretty special.
Tell us, for the fans that don't know, I mean, of course, he played it for 6 years, but our pitching coach, Matt Zaleski, one of my favorite all-time Charlotte Knights, what a joy it's going to be to hang out with him and be part of a staff with him, because this guy just loves life.
He does, man. And I'll tell you, I tell everybody, I mean, he's a different bird. And what I mean by that is, he is that guy that's going to be able to relate to these players on a different level than some guys, struggle with. And, he has that personality that, he kind of thinks outside the box. He's always thinking outside the box. It's no cookie cutter system. Everybody's different. And for him to be there with this young, talented team and the prospects that are going to be on the hill in Charlotte, it is pretty special. I mean, that's what the White Sox proved it when they put him from Winston-Salem to AAA. I mean, he's a special pitching coach. He's going to be a big league pitching coach. And, I was excited to watch him do his thing and to be beside him in the dugout making decisions and, going back and forth with him during the game. It was going to be fun.
Tell us about some of the guys. I know, Michael Kopech had been sent to Charlotte, but do we know he's rehabbing the Tommy John, and Carlos Rodon the same way? And we've heard Zach Birdie's name being mentioned. How are those guys doing in spring?
They're doing great. And, fortunately, we got to see Kopech on the mound right before the virus hit and we had to shut it down. We got to see Kopech come in and, start that game, pitch that one inning. And, I mean, it's special. I mean, I tell anybody that's God-given. That's not taught in a weight room. That's not, taught in the backyard when you're a kid. That arm he has is God-given. And it's pretty special. I mean, it's electric. It's something that, a fan would come to the stadium just to watch him throw and watch him pitch. So he is doing outstanding. He was on pace to be ready. And, Charlotte, Chicago was still in the air, but I would pretty much assume it would have been Charlotte starting with us. Birdie and those guys are doing great. I know they were, still strengthening the areas that they were, injured and, getting better every day. They're doing all the drills. They're, doing everything that they have to. They're pitching in games, and they're just, on that slow progression, but they were going to be ready.
Last year, I think Danny Mendick was the big name in spring that kind of blew up out there, and he just took it, throughout the year with us. In fact, was just named the All-Decade team for the one season he had with the Charlotte Knights. Is there a guy that maybe was kind of opening up some eyes in spring that maybe wasn't on the radar to begin the season?
I would say probably Gavin Sheets. He was the guy that, we knew what he could do, but he had to go home and work on a lot of things this off season. And he did. He came back to spring training this year. And from day one in BP, from day one on the field with, ground balls at first base, I mean, you kind of look at it, everybody kind of looked around going, all right, he's a different player. And then Jim Tomei come to town, and first thing him and I talked about was, wow, Gavin Sheets has turned the corner. I mean, a complete 180 from last year. And with this, I mean, he led the Southern League in RBIs last year, so he had a really good year. But he knew, and he was not content with that. He went home and worked on the things he had to work on, and he came into spring training with a chip on his shoulder, and he opened a lot of eyes in that big league clubhouse and that big league front office.
You mentioned Jim Tomei, another one of my favorites. I just love talking baseball with him. He truly is a student of the game, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he loves the game. I mean, the guy loves the game. And, you think about him, over 600 homers, Hall of Famer, and all he cares about is watching these kids get better. I mean, he actually, just giggles about it when he sees a kid get better. I mean, I'll never forget it. Like, I was throwing BP to 3 players on the field, Gavin Sheets, Luis Gonzalez, and Blake Rutherford. And it was some extra work, so I backed the L screen up, and I was actually throwing harder to them. We were doing this drill where you're, plate recognition, and it's kind of like game speed. And Jim Tomei just kind of was like, this is unreal. And one of these three are going to be my pick to click in the game today. And what do you know? Luis Gonzalez hit the walk-off double that day to win the big league game. And all Jim Tomei talked about in the coaches meeting that morning was how he was so excited to see that happen in practice and take it into the game. And for him to be that enthusiastic about these young players just shows you, just what kind of person he is.
That's really cool. Was there like an air of excitement in camp with these guys? It's such a young team, but there's some veteran guys in there as well. Of course, they went out and signed a lot of, older free agents to kind of piece it all together. But I'm guessing there was a lot of excitement in camp of what this team is potentially able to do.
Totally different from last year. 2019 spring training, I think they still kind of had in their mind that they were rebuilding. and it was going to be a year of going out there just getting better. This year, you kind of sense that, hey, we're here to win, and we're here to make the playoffs. We've gotten better. We've added the pieces, and now it's about going out there and make the playoffs and give a push for the World Series. So the atmosphere changed, the characters of the clubhouse changed, just the team chemistry changed from last year to this year, and I really commend Rick Renteria with that. And of course, the front office with Rick Hahn and all those guys, but Kenny Williams. But when it comes to what that clubhouse is doing right now and the way those players think that they basically can beat King Kong right now is Rick Renteria. He's done a great job.
For you, you've been at every level of this game, and a couple of years ago, coached in AAA with Lehigh Valley. I've always wanted to ask, a lot of managers that come in, their idea on winning in the minor leagues. How important is winning in the minor leagues? And to me, if you learn how to win here, then you know how to win at the next level. But everyone doesn't have that philosophy.
They don't. The number one thing in the minor leagues is development, of course. Every organization, it's all about the big leagues, and it should be. That's what pays the bills. That's what brings in the revenue. That's what brings in that's what, you're going to have 50,000 people in the stands. You're not going to have that many people in the stands in the minors. And, so it's all about the big leagues and getting players to the big leagues. But on the flip side, and I'll fight this till the day I die. I tell everybody this, and some people agree, some people don't. But I don't care what level you're at, it's all about winning. And, it could be in the backyard playing against your brothers and sisters. It's all about winning. And the reason why it teaches you so many things that are going to carry with these guys, it's going to, in life and everything. And if they build those traits now, then it's going to carry with them through the minor leagues. And when they get to the big leagues, they don't have to, try to learn it there. You have to set the principle early that, you're playing to win. And for me, if you are playing to win, you're doing the things that you are have to develop yourself as a player and as a team. So player development is going to come into play no matter what. But if you set the principle, it's about winning. It builds that mentality that, these guys can, pretty much accomplish anything they put their mind to.
Well, Wes, I know a lot of the guys are trying to stay in shape right now, trying to stay ready for when baseball does come back. For you, what are you doing down there in Birmingham? A lot of free time, I'm guessing, on your hands. What are you doing to stay occupied?
We're very blessed, man. We live on 4 acres on a lake, and we're able to stay outside. I always, we tell our kids, let's get outside today. It's pretty. Let's go. We fish. We shoot basketball. Luckily, we have a home gym at home, so I'm able to. My wife and I train, and I'm able to train my son and daughter. My son's a junior in high school, and my daughter's 8th grade, and they're baseball and volleyball. So I'm able to train them, and I'm able to do the things that I need to do to not only stay mentally sane, but also to do the things that we love to do, which is working out, being outside, and having that just family time now that we wouldn't have gotten if the season would have kicked off on time.
That's true. Hey, Wes, really appreciate your time tonight, and maybe we'll do this again before we get playing. But hopefully, we'll have some baseball this summer. But hope you and your family stay safe and healthy. And again, thanks so much.
Hey, anytime, man. Look, y'all stay healthy and safe, and I'm sure that we'll cross paths up there in Charlotte pretty quickly here.
All right, Wes, thanks so much. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. And we'll have another installment coming up soon of On Deck with the Charlotte Knights. Join us then. Good night.